before you were a bud tender, or before, but you were still engaged in the legal market, what was your thoughts going in versus like the realization? Because I think like a lot of people, they want to be bud tenders because they just want to sell weed. I mean, a lot of people, it's almost like being 16 again. You get that job at McDonald's and you're just like, now I get to, make the cheeseburgers, and then you find out it's really not that fun. You get what I'm saying? The idea versus the
Sure.
reality, right? What was that? What was that like for you,
Sure.
or what do you
So
think that is?
yes and no to all of that. It was very much what I expected and nothing like I hoped and nothing like I expected, I guess, all at the same time. I know that doesn't make sense, but hear me out. So I hated the idea of the legal market. I was about as underground, black market, illicit activities as you could be. I didn't buy into the corporate mids. I still really don't to an extent. Um, I people would go around selling it. Oh, this is medical. I bought it from the dispensary for this much, and turn around flipping it on the streets when I'm growing my own, and we're getting stuff from out west, and I'm seeing the difference, and I'm like, there's nothing. This is all the same, and it clicked really early for me that the THC numbers were a scam. There wasn't anything behind that. That the things that were being put out were not being cared for at the level that the street weed was being taken care of. It was watered down. It seemed like it was all very diet weed to me. I never liked it from the beginning. But Street Connect started to fall off. I had to move my living situation for a minute and had to stop growing, and it just became convenient to get my medical card. And I turned around, like I said, I got a job at a dispensary. I was the chef at the time, and I decided to give my shot at edibles. And I mean, for starters, it was not what I expected because I underestimated how much of a lab setting it was versus how much of a food creation situation. So I was more getting into a sterile environment, and instead of just being a chef about it, everything was very procedural. I'd never worked with an SOP for anything before that. At the time, being only medical, everything that left the room was counted, signed for, counted when it got to the next room, signed for. It was total chain of evidence. It looked like a crime TV show. It was you walk in, go straight to the locker room, get into your scrubs, go do your thing. If you leave the environment, change back out. It was not what I expected in that aspect. And again, I expected diet weed, I expected corporate practices, but what I didn't expect was the dirty, shady underhandedness that was occurring, and the way that in a medical setting it was still profits over patients and entirely business model, nothing about helping people. The owner himself had not a fucking clue about weed. I couldn't imagine he had ever seen it before he owned a dispensary. His family was from, I believe they had opened up second or third liquor chain or something after prohibition had ended with alcohol. So they had some money from that and some other stuff involving like nursing home chains, and they came to make their millions off cannabis, just like so many of these people who have no understanding of what they're selling have come to do. The culture vultures, if you will, came and they're feeding off what's been created, and they're just turning around and making all the profit. And I saw that. I saw the dirty practices. I saw, mother rooms that were looked like there was an entire snowstorm in there with all the powdery mildew. I watched things be dipped in xylitol. I watched all kinds of manipulation of the testing, and I knew for sure at that point that the test results were worth nothing. If this can be done,